Hi friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Marissa and I'm a human being showing up on this app, just trying to share my journey, maybe provide some inspiration, maybe some support. I don't know. All I can say is I'm a human being and I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy that you are here. So this is kind of part 2, the 2024 Reset series that I'm going to be taking you through on this channel, amongst other content, but I am feeling very passionate about this conversation because if you watched my last YouTube video, I talked about the recap of 2023. If you haven't watched it, go watch it, but very quickly to summarize it, 2023 was not my year. It's not a year that I honestly even want to reflect back on. I talked more about that in that previous video, so if you want to know what happened or what's up, go watch it. But that's not the energy I want to bring to this video. I don't want to talk about 2023 because I don't want to be carrying that energy into this video, into 2024, because the old me is done. She's gone. That vibe, I'm so done with carrying that weight around on my shoulders of the person I was last year. If you know me or you've watched any of my videos, I'm somebody who has talked about how I'm not somebody for resolutions. Like, I'm kind of go with the flow, do what's best for your body. And I still do stand by that. However, like this last year was just not me, that I am in a mind state right now where I'm like, I will do anything and everything to find myself again this year. 2024 is the year for finding myself. And if I'm not finding myself in who I am and what I know feels good for me, I am building a brand new version of myself. And I hope to heck I love every aspect of it. And I'm going to do anything I can in my power to get to that place again, because I cannot move through 2024 feeling the way I did in 2023. So I don't care how cliche it is about resolutions or goal setting, or like if things feel very repetitive in like the content creation industry or the wellness industry. I don't care. I do not care, because I care a lot about how I feel, because how I feel is how I show up for other people. And one of my biggest passions is providing inspiration for people to live a healthier lifestyle. And it's very hard to cast that inspiration or when I am not aligned or when I'm not feeling myself. So needless to say, 2024 is going to be the year, and I'm sure there's going to be lots of struggles, and I'm going to document those struggles, and I'm going to document the times in which I need to pivot or realign or regroup. I will be doing that, but I'm also going to be carrying through this energy that I will do anything and everything it takes to be a better person, mentally, physically, emotionally, to my community, to the people around me, to my friendships, to Shay, to my family. I need to be a better person. I need to be a better person up here. So as I said in my previous video, I'm not doing resolutions as like, I'm not making a list of goals to achieve in this entire year. I am working on 2024 on a quarterly basis. So I am kind of picking the top categories of my life that I want to focus on. And I am only picking a couple things from those categories to work on for the first quarter of the year. I'm going to explain this like more in actually like a written form. And then the second quarter, I'm going to reevaluate how the first quarter went. And then I'm going to say, okay, do I still need to prioritize those kind of categories of my life for this next quarter? Or can I move on to the other categories that I maybe put on the back burner for the second quarter of the year? And I'll show you the layout of how I plan on doing that, at least for the first quarter in the later part of this video. But I want to talk kind of how I got to deciding what those things are. What I like to do actually is I am somebody who likes to pull my inspiration from pictures, and that is why I am like an avid Pinterest user. I know many of you have heard of Pinterest. A lot of people actually probably use Pinterest, but a few ways I found that was most helpful for me was actually creating a vision board on my Pinterest page so that I can continuously look back and remind myself of what I'm working towards and where I got my inspiration from. And it's okay if I look back and it changes, but I just like to have something to continuously come back to aside from my list. If you did watch my last video, I talked about how prior to this goal setting day that I was having with myself, I was doing a big clean, a big purge, really getting rid of kind of the clutter that was kind of distracting me from figuring out what my values are and like what I'm working towards. So when I logged into my Pinterest account, I was like, I have so many Pinterest boards in here that I would never open again. And also that I don't feel really aligns with my lifestyle or my outlook on life. So I wiped my entire Pinterest page clear. Like I just deleted every Pinterest board that I had. For instance, there was like a board I've had of like wedding inspo. We're not having a wedding, so I'm like, delete that. I had a board of like 10-minute meals. I'm like, I don't make 10-minute meals. I make really wholesome, hearty, homesteading type of meals. So get rid of that page. So I wiped my entire Pinterest board clear, and that was very refreshing. And I created a new board, and the board is 2024 vision board. And I started to add things into that made me feel like, oh, I love this image, or I love this quote, or I love the way in which this home is captured, or I would make this recipe. I love the vibe or the colors of whatever is in this photo. I love this workout set. I love this gym layout. Anything that I was like, oh, I like that, I like that, I like that, I put in this board. And this is kind of what's like, it's so interesting about creating a vision board is like you just go through and you're like, oh, this resonates with me, this resonates with me, this resonates with me. And then you look back and you're like, huh, those are kind of my top categories that I felt most drawn to looking at my Pinterest board. And that might be a really great segue into figuring out, okay, I'm really interested in looking at things like food and fitness. So maybe those are two things that need to be on the top of my priority list for goals this year. I think it's also really interesting to see the colors that you're drawn to in a board after, because I know for me in the past like couple years, and even like a reflection in my life, I'm somebody who's very neutral, greens and beiges and browns, and I love those earthy colors, and those aren't going anywhere because I'm fair skinned and got red hair. Like there's not very many colors you can go with. But I was noticing that there's also some like lavender and some like sky blue, and I would never pick those colors, but there's just something about some of these images that I'm like very, very drawn to. And when I think about that, I'm like, I just need to like be a little bit brighter. So it's just very interesting, I think, to use a Pinterest board and be able to look back on that. Anyways, before I get into the whole like written part, I'm just gonna take a few more minutes to chill out, drink my tea, and go through Pinterest a little bit farther. There's just some things I wanna search for keywords. I'm gonna start there, and then I will take you through my agenda and my personal journal. Okay, first things first, let's go through my Pinterest board. Just some quotes, some things that I need to, check in on and remind myself what I'm working towards, and some things that align with what I've written down. So, lots of facials, lots of greens, lots of beautiful flowers, gardening, movement, like so needing to prioritize that. Pilates, yoga, weight training, of course some greens. Really defining my style. It's something I've been working on for the last year, but I want to get really serious with the pieces that I have in my wardrobe. Just some cute little love things on here. I'm not going to go into too much detail on like my relationship goals because I think that's an area of my life that deserves to be private, but I will just say being more intentional with showing affection, showing love. A nice picture of just like two people sitting out. If you're a friend of mine watching this, you would know that like I love just low-key kind of girls' days where we catch up, talk about goals, talk about life. So like these types of hangouts in 2024, not the going out, not getting the dinner, just like having snacks or having a coffee or just something that's like very effortless, and like in each other's homes rather than like being out and like overstimulated. Like I value that quality time with my friends so much. Lots of movement. You see yoga, reformers. I also really want to try tennis this year, just like something fun. I don't think I put anything golf on here, but that's another thing I really want to prioritize this year. Obviously lots of self-care, lots of baths, lots of healthy food, just like full nourishment inside and out. Cooking at home. It's like honestly kind of become my love language. And I never thought I would say that, but I love cooking at home. I love cooking at home with Shay, and I love that. One thing I do want to do actually is like, I'm so used to using like a database for research or like Pinteresting recipes, but I actually really want to buy a couple good cookbooks and actually cook from a cookbook. Again, lots of food, just like being at home, freshness, hopefully things I can grow in the garden. So from here, after going through what this looks like, what I've done is I have kind of summarized what these things in categories might look like. And I started by writing them down. So the key areas of, I would say, my life that I am prioritizing this year, which this list might seem long, but like, as I said, I'm willing to do anything and everything to just feel good in all areas of my life. And these are the things that contribute to how I feel. So key areas I'm focusing, obviously my mental health, that's like at the top of this list. I didn't need to put any pins down to know that that was number one. My physical health, and then from the realignment of my mental and physical health, I hope that comes with better emotional health as well. Financial, I put this on here more for just being more intentional with where I spend my money in terms of places, in terms of items. I want to buy less, but buy better, not necessarily like less in quantity. Like I don't think I'm someone who overconsumes, but I really want to make sure that what I am buying is worth the money. Relationships, friendships, again, just being more intentional with like who I spend my time with, what energy I share, where I go with these friends, the conversations my friends and I are having, very, very important to me. Personal things. So in here, I kind of like have some like style things and some personal goals that I want to have like documented. Professional. This is like an interesting yet weird one because I feel like I'm still trying to navigate what the heck this means to me, but we'll get there. And then environment, and what I mean by environment is like places I put myself. So the environment of my home, the environment of my workplaces, which can be hard because like workplaces, you have the energy of so many other people. But actually also the environments in which I put myself to like shop in. So like grocery stores or like clothing stores, like I want to be really intentional with where I go because you can walk into a store and just know that you're in a bad mood because of the vibe. And I'm just not wasting any more time being in those stores. So definitely environment. So this is kind of like my key areas that I was focusing on. And then what I did was go in further detail because I can't just say I'm going to work on my mental health this year. How am I going to do that? Like, what am I actually going to do that's going to support this? So let me show you the breakdown of what I've done. This is kind of the plan for 2024 of things that I will be prioritizing to support my life in 2024 to up level and get back or rebuild myself. Whatever we're saying, whatever the outcome is, this is my list. I foresee this list changing, and it's a list that I want to reassess every single month so that I know whether or not I'm making progress, but also if I still align with these things, because as I mentioned, so many things can change in a year. So I just want to make sure that I'm continuing to prioritize my goals, but working towards what feels right at that time. So the list is quite long. We've got mental health support, financial goals, relationship, friendships, personal, professional, health, and environment. But I just want to go through the top two that I will be working on in January, and that is my mental and my physical health. So let's start with mental health. Okay, let's get into it of what I'm prioritizing for January. First and foremost is my mental health. And what I'm doing to support my mental health is I plan on booking my therapy appointment. I am still pretty new to therapy. I started going to therapy last year. And the reason I decided to go to therapy was I actually wanted to be better at communicating my emotions. My emotions can get the best of me. And I joke with people saying that as soon as you turn 30, everything feels emotional. But as much as I think that's true, what I think happened for me was through my entire 20s and my teens, I suppressed emotion so much that I almost became numb to expressing emotion. And I realized that when there were conversations that Shay and I were having, or some of my close friends and I were having, and I didn't know how to properly communicate how I was feeling. Even though I was like thinking something, I just couldn't put it into words. And I didn't like that. I felt like things that we were discussing, like friendships or even with Shay, it was almost like one-sided because I couldn't fully articulate what I wanted to say, or how to express how I felt. So that's what actually brought me to therapy. And from there, I've only gone a handful of times, but because I'm so new to therapy, I don't necessarily have a consensus as to whether or not it's as life-changing as people say it is, or if it doesn't work. I'm not at that point yet. But what I can tell you is after interviewing 5 different therapists, my 4th therapist that I interviewed with, I knew that I was going to have a positive relationship with this lady, because what I was looking for was somebody who could guide me through talking without me feeling like I was in control of the conversation. And I know it's just interviews that I had with these therapists, but the second I opened my mouth, I felt like the backseat person in the car with this lady. And I just knew that she was somebody who could help me articulate and navigate my emotions and my feelings and understand myself and my thoughts a little bit better. And I'm really, really, really thankful for her. So that will be a number 1 priority this year, is being more consistent, because I don't go as often as I hope to. But this is the year where there's no excuses. So that will be an appointment that I will book for this month and open that conversation with her. The second one is 1 healing appointment a month. I have so many healing practitioners around me all the time. So this isn't going to be a hard one to achieve, but why I have this on my list is because I want to be intentional with actually booking these appointments, because sometimes I can go 2-3 months without booking an actual healing appointment, and I want to be intentional with having at least 1 a month. So that could be a massage therapist, an Ayurvedic practitioner. You could be seeing someone for cranial sacral therapy, a Reiki appointment, reflexology, just something that is very nourishing and allows me to relax. So 1 healing appointment a month. Okay, next on my list is 1 parasympathetic focus day a week. This is not necessarily new for me. However, sometimes I am not strict on my boundaries for this. So sometimes I will go like once a month where it's 1 parasympathetic focus day. And what this means is it's 1 day where you are intentionally focusing on down regulating your nervous system to get in a parasympathetic state so that you can actually rest and recover. So these are kind of those slow, non-stimulating, non-busy days. It's days where you don't have to go anywhere. It's days where you don't have to over communicate. It's days where you don't have to host people at your house. It's days where you can just simply be in your space, in your environment, and relax and breathe and try to really reset your body. So my goal obviously is to do this on Sundays. You guys know how much I love being at home and being alone on Sundays. 2 Sundays a month, Shay is not here, so those days will be easy. The other 2 Sundays are a little bit more challenging because Shay is here and you never know with their schedules. But I need to be very adamant about my Sundays to be a parasympathetic focus day where it is a day of rest and recovery. Not necessarily laziness, but a day where I can actually activate my parasympathetic nervous system. And I will probably do another video on what that means. And then the last thing on my mental health support list is a morning and evening routine. This is something that I have gotten so far away from. I get up in the morning, I make a coffee, I sit on the couch, I eat breakfast, and then I go to work. And then sometimes I don't even do all of the above. I just get up, get dressed, and go to work. That's not what I'm doing this year. I am taking time for myself before I give time to other people. So morning routine, and then the evening routine. This is something that has also slipped away from me. Like I used to have a really great skincare routine. I'd have a bath, I would apply oil to my body, I would diffuse essential oils, I'd have a tea. But lately I've just been going from the couch to the bed to watch an episode of something and then falling asleep whenever I want. And it's just not providing support for my body, and it just feels very sluggish. So those are the first 4 things. This list will grow, but obviously I want to be realistic with my time and how much commitment I have to start these goals. So those are the first 4 things I'm going to be doing to support my mental health starting ASAP. And the other focus for January is actually going to be health, but my physical health. So long-term detoxification is the number 1 thing I'm going to be focusing on. And how I'm going to be doing this is through supplemental support and specific foods. I'm not going to get into detail on specific products, but I am going to do a video on what I mean by long-term detoxification. In short form, what I mean is I'm not doing a 2-week cleanse. That's not what I'm doing. But what I am going to be doing for the next year is really supporting my detoxification organs. So my liver, my bowels, my kidneys, my lymph system, and really making sure that they are moving fluidly so that toxins aren't building up and I'm not getting sick every other week. Regaining full health. This is pretty broad point here, but I put this down here to be more intentional with the reason in which this is a number one priority for me, my physical health, because I need to regain my full health to move ahead in 2024 in a positive mindset and to be able to reach the goals that I want to reach. Consistent movement. This is also something I have not been doing. Partially is from my knee injury, but I can't continue to use that even if that is an injury I will be carrying through the new year. There are other forms of movement that I could be doing that doesn't necessarily require my knee. So consistent movement, of course, and build a support team. Building a support team is probably a really good tip for everybody because it's really hard to achieve goals when there are barriers in your way that could be alleviated by other people. And what I mean by that is if you are someone who struggles to ask for help, ask for help. That is you building your support team. I have learned this the hard way as somebody who is A-type and wants to do everything myself. It's exhausting, and if somebody can take the load off of you and alleviate any level of stress, it will make you a better person. So if that's asking a friend or a family member to babysit your kids while you go to the gym, start there. If it's that you are seeking out professional help to guide you through, say, your eating habits or your fitness journey, that is building a support team. If you have a chronic injury that you need to address, that is building a support team. And that can be very, very impactful moving ahead to better yourself in 2024. So even though I'm going to be doing a quarterly plan, 90-day check-in type of mentality, I am still going to be working month by month. So January, my focus, as I said, is my mental and my physical health. So those are the first two things that I'm going to be prioritizing in January. Now I'm going to take this one step further and I'm going to go to my Bible, which is my planner. I'm going to the month of January, I'm doing a quick overview, and I'm putting everything that is important to me in this calendar. Everything from my meetings, to when Shay works, to when I work, to when I have facial days, special days like Shay's birthday, dinners that we have planned. I've even put in a spot for my monthly goals check-in, a full reset day. This is going to be like a big cleaning day that I have on here. This is a Sunday. So as I look at this, I can see the overview of where else I can fit in my appointments. So where am I going to put my therapy, my physio, a massage? I would like to take 2 Pilates classes this month. So is it a day during the week? Is it a weekend? I just love laying it out. I love writing it down. I love having this full overview. So if you don't have an agenda and you're someone who loves to use your phone, that's another way to do it. Or just like printing something off from Google can also be a great resource as well. Okay, with all of that being said, which that was a lot, as much as I am in this mindset where I'm trying to remain positive and I'm trying to remain hopeful, and my number one goal is just to get to the person and to the place where I feel the most authentic, the most aligned, and the most healthy, I know that life doesn't always have that plan for you. So the other end of that is I'm also trying to keep an open mind to the possibility of having to pivot or realign. So as much as I am focused in this direction, I know darn well sometimes life can change your direction very quickly. So that is why I'm taking it month by month and trying not to overwhelm myself, but also understanding that I have many things in my life that I don't have control over, and that can affect the action plan and the end result of whatever goal I'm working towards as well. Anyways, with that being said, I'm going to continue to do this series month by month to continue to hold myself accountable, but also hopefully inspire you to kind of look at your life and say, is there anything that I need to realign with, or what can I do to better myself in 2024? But with that being said, I want to know, what's the number one thing that you are working towards in January to better support and grow yourself, whether that's personal, professional, financial, physical, mental, emotional, whatever that might be. If you would love to share, I would love to read what your number one goal is that you're working towards, because I want to do this together. I want to know what you're working towards. I'm sharing what I'm working towards, and I think that we could be a great support team to help each other move through 2024. Okay, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and supporting me along my journey. Thank you so much for being a part of this channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe. That way you get a notification as soon as a new video is released. Give this video some love. Again, tell me below what your number one goal is you're working towards in January specific, not the whole year. Give me a January specific goal. And I can't wait to chat with you in my next video. I hope you guys enjoyed the first few days of 2024. And please know that I'm thinking of you, and that I am hopeful for a healthy and wholesome 2024 for absolutely everybody. See you guys in my next one.